Yo, what up? This is Braxton. What's up, bold fam? In this video, I'm going to be going over physics and metaphysics and my understanding of the worldview in terms of that. And I'm really excited to be doing a bunch of these videos because perception is everything. It controls your behaviors. If you are met at a fork in the road, your worldview will dictate whether you're going to go left or right based on the goal you have and how you understand the process to get there. So the reason why I'm excited to touch on this is because I feel like there's a lot of flaws that can be minor or just a small degree of a difference, but because they're so primary and foundational, they end up leading to problems on the higher level things that we stack on top of those frameworks, those worldviews. So physics naturally is the starting point for this because it's the underlying mechanics of how things work in the universe, or at least how we understand them to work. And science has become a religion. It's an echo chamber for mainstream physicists in which there's not enough controversy or enough support for controversial ideas to get us fixing the flaws that are there inherent in the system. But that's what we're dealing with. I mean, it's kind of any institution has certain characteristics that are similar to a religion. But back to the point. So I'm just gonna be putting this forth. I might say it more definitively so that it's just easier to talk about rather than saying like I believe or whatnot. So the worldview that I departed from was the one of that kind of feeling like this is a vacuum and that there's billiard balls bumping around, and it's a very Newtonian Rene Descartes vibe of the world where we are in the universe observing it, we're looking around, there's like distinction between ourselves and the universe, and there's separation between it. You know, if you're in space and you're looking at the sun, there's just nothing between you and the sun in this type of feeling. Obviously there's photons traveling towards you, and the other thing is that they say that there's particles, there's photons, there's electrons, there's muons, there's gravitons, like all these things, and it does seem a little nonsensical when you start to entertain the other worldview, which is the ether or 0 point energy, or just the fact that it's one force, not four, like gravity, electromagnetism, strong, weak, nuclear force. It's just electromagnetism dynamically expressing itself. Just like water, one compound, H2O, can express itself dynamically in the form of a solid, liquid, and gas, so too can electromagnetism. And that is where you get expressions that we call gravity and radiation and other expressions of that dynamic force. And so it's this one big field, this electromagnetic field, this ether, and that can be thought of as a large ocean. It's a fluid, it's a medium in which the energetic ripples are made. So the yin, in terms of yin-yang understanding, the yin is the female, it's the womb, the feminine energy that allows for the potential. And then, so that is the web, the matrix. And then the potential actualized is the masculine energy, the ripple through that medium. And in this worldview, everything's connected. There's no photon here, photon there, and a gap. It's a peak here and a peak here and a trough, but the trough is connecting them. The wave is connected with the previous and former wave, or the wave that goes after it. So in addition to that, it's a more magical world because we see the interconnectedness produces a type of meta-organism of the universe. It's a collaboration, just like my brain. I have like individual neurons that are firing irrespective of each other, but they can collaborate. And because of that collaboration, you call it Braxton. You call it like its own entity. So the universe is its own entity. It's fully connected, fully collaborating with itself. So we're not in the universe. We are the universe. And this worldview opens up the door to appreciate and give more credit and substance to like controversial or seemingly controversial topics like 5G and Wi-Fi, the zodiac, and vibes, like if you enter a room and you get a bad vibe. These are just 3 examples of different topics that, when having a more electric, universe-inclined worldview, it makes these ideas more palatable or have better explanations, it seems like. And biophotons is another one. Recently learned about that. It appears that those account for the majority of communication in our body. It's not chemical, it's more electrical, biophoton. So we're light beings. Matter is just slowed down light. If you have the electromagnetic spectrum, which is everything that there is, and you've got the slowest radio wave emissions there, and then on the highest end you've got gamma, which is just super high energy. You've got us in between that, and we're slow. We are condensed light. And a cool experiment I'll probably illustrate in the second draft of this video will be to spin and create a vortex in a glass of water, and do this with outside or with a flashlight. And you'll see that there's a shadow formed at the vortex. And that can be a great illustration and way to wrap your mind around the understanding of a photon or an electron. It's not a thing. It's a posterior attribute of a more primary substantial thing, just like a shadow. Shadow is a posterior attribute of my body and the interaction with light. And it's not like that's the other part of this electromagnetic ocean field idea, is that it's a great way to integrate and wrap your mind around the idea of duality and non-duality. You can see light and darkness as 2 poles, 2 dualities, but they're part of the electromagnetic field. So it's non-dual, it's unified when you look at it in its true form. And the peak would be something like akin to light, and the trough would be akin to dark. So they're 2 sides of the same coin, and you can look at love and hate, you can look at growth and death, any dualistic thing you can look at similarly. So that kind of wraps it up. As opposed to everything being disconnected and in a vacuum of space, we are swimming in a sea of light that's connected through space and time, and that the majority of reality is unseen, and that we're only experiencing or conscious of a sliver of what is. So the world's a magical place, and we know nothing, virtually nothing. So give some energy towards the appreciation of your ignorance, and make sure that you're always looking for those blind spots and swapping out old expired worldviews and frameworks that do not longer serve you for something that does. So I hope this was a good little first draft. Wasn't too overextending, wasn't too broad or vague or specific, but the second or third draft will be more polished, have more references, have more visual aids to help get this worldview idea from my head to yours. And the upcoming ones are going to be about the society and reality that we live in on Earth. It's going to include as well one on nutrition, in terms of like how our body works with energy production and hormones, fitness in terms of growing muscle, in terms of how you should view working out. There's going to be our bodies as mainly electrical. So there's going to be really cool stuff that I geek out about and love, and that have really benefited me in deciding what to do in my life for those different types of topics. And just seeing also the interconnectedness, and that really stems from this physics worldview. So I really love how much it's allowed me to connect things and see the beauty in that connection. Hope it does the same for you. Drop a like if you like this, and comment to give me some feedback. Let me know what's great. If you vibe with this, if you see a flaw or a question mark where you're like, I don't know how to connect these two things, would love to give a shot at it. So, without rambling on too much longer, I'll cut it off. Have a bold frickin' day, and peace.